deer and wildlife stories.
Sit? Are you kidding me? What? This is heavy. Every deer farm has got a deer like Heavy, and that's what they call a lifer out here. And a lifer is one that no matter what, he's not leaving the deer farm. And so Heavy is a special deer, and special deer exist on deer farms, and he's giant. I mean, look at his antlers, but he's not for sale. Other deer out here are. So how you doing today? Huh? Pretty good, huh? Howdy everybody, welcome to the Texas Hill Country and to Rockin' our Whitetails. My name is Keith Warren, and on today's Deer and Wildlife Stories, we're going to introduce you to a couple of these knuckleheads and show you some great big breeder bucks along the way. You like them, don't you?
I'm Nathan Ross with Rockin' our Whitetails. We are overjoyed to have Keith and his crew back, so we'll have the opportunity to show him our new place over in Mountain Home, Texas.
Regular viewers of the show are probably watching this episode say, you know, I watched last year and I saw Deer and Wildlife Stories at Rockin' our Whitetails, but the place looks different. Well, it is different. And the reason why is because Rockin' our Whitetails moved. Now they moved to a new location that's about 10 miles north of where they were, and it's just outside of Mountain Home, Texas.
Last year, Keith came to visit us. We were located over in Hunt, Texas, off Highway 39. We've since moved over to Highway 41 in Mountain Home. We're loving the new place. We have a lot of room to expand. Facilities are top notch, and we're excited about the future for Rockin' our Whitetails.
All right, well, it's clear these are one-year-olds. Tell me about them. You got a few of them that are pretty outstanding.
We're proud of them. We've got some yearlings in here that some of our better ones out of Freightliner, and then obviously our best ones out of Aftershock.
Mm-hmm. Well, is that Aftershock all cut off right there?
It is.
I'll be doggone.
Looks
folks.
a little different this year.
Yeah, he looks a little
year.
different. You know, last year we were out at Rockin' our Whitetails when they were just down the road at the old location, and we got there in just enough time to film Aftershock getting knocked down and do what they call a haircut. It was an antler amputation, and we actually made an entire long video of that, and it was a pretty cool process because Aftershock, I mean, it's clear now, especially now, and we're going to show you some of his production later on in the show, but it's clear now that that deer right there, Aftershock, he has gotten it done. And this year, I guess, because you've got pictures of before and after, right. I mean, but he couldn't hold off until we got here, so they had to knock him down a couple of weeks ago and cut his antlers off, because again, they got so big, he's got so much power, they got so big that he couldn't hold his head up, and it wouldn't be right to not cut him off. So anyway, there he is, but he's in a bunch of one-year-olds, and I guess in looking at your one-year-olds this year, I mean, last year we were looking at one-year-olds, and the thing that got me, there were some real nice ones, but I understand that one of those one-year-olds that we filmed last year has turned into a deer that's got a name, and he's an Aftershock son.
Yes. And
his name is Jackpot, and we're going to show you Jackpot and tell you all about him, and you're going to see how a deer like Aftershock throws, because he's making a name for himself in the industry that he gets it done production wise. It's clear Aftershock is getting it done. There's people all over the country now that are using his semen to actually spread those genetics in their herd. So if somebody wants more information to get a hold of you, give them a phone number.
All right, you can reach us at 409-767-5299 or shoot us an email at rockinourwhitetails@gmail.com.
And right now, you know what I want to do? I want to go see Jackpot. Everybody's talking about him. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, so tell me about the two-year-olds.
Well, we're really pleased with the group of two-year-olds we have this year. A lot of Aftershock sons in here that are really showing out, some Freightliner sons. We're pleased with the progress. I mean, we're always trying to get better, but we're not disappointed with what we have as two-year-olds this year.
Well, you shouldn't be. I mean, look at them. I mean, it's you know, I go back, I remember when I was in that one-year-old pen last year, all these guys were in it. And there were some in there that were like, hey, that guy could grow into something, that guy could grow into something, because I know that there are a bunch of Aftershock yearlings you had last year. So there are a bunch of Aftershock two-year-olds in here, and I want to know who that one is right there.
That's Jackpot. That's the one I was telling you about earlier.
Stud. I mean, look at the mass on him. He's gorgeous. 2 years old. Okay, so I guess y'all, and honestly, I don't know if we have video of him last year or not, because you had so many one-year-olds in there, but I'm sure that y'all have a picture of what Jackpot looked like as a yearling. So what we'll do is we'll throw that up on screen now, and I want you to see what he looked like as a yearling. And so it's important, you know, we talk about the three things that it takes to raise big deer. For a deer hunter would be age, nutrition, genetics. Well, in the deer farm, it takes genetics, nutrition, and age. And so you can tell that deer right there has got the genetics, okay? I mean, he's had the nutrition, now he's just got to get age. And you can tell the difference between 1 and 2 years old. I mean, just look at him. I mean, Jackpot is a beast of a deer.
He's a big boy.
You gonna use him to cover with this year?
Yes, sir, that's the plan.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you don't, I know somebody who would. I mean, that's a heck of a deer right there.
Thank you.
And the pedigree on him?
He's aftershock on a Gladiator on Reno doe.
Oh, it goes back to Reno, and Reno got it done. So
yeah, still doing it.
You take a look at the North American Deer Registry, you go down, you say anything from Reno, check mark, that's good stuff. Yeah, cool. So give him a phone number.
409-767-5299. Or you can hit us up on email at rockinarwhitetails@gmail.com.
Nathan and Christy, they're the kind of people that if you get to know them, it's going to be like, wow, I wish I'd have known you a long time ago, because they are wonderful people. I don't know how in the world Nathan got so lucky to get Christy. I mean, look at her. She absolutely loves every single thing about deer farming. Deer farming was meant for Nathan and Christy. Christy is, she's in love with every one of the deer. I mean, I'll sit down there and I ask her about something, and all of a sudden she just starts getting so passionate about it. You can tell that she's starting to tear up because she loves the deer so much.
So Nathan and I started back in 2011 just for a passion for whitetail deer. We both fell in love with it. We love the industry, and I can't imagine doing anything else.
That's incredible, okay? To find a husband-wife team where not only is the husband passionate, I mean, you can look at Nathan, and Nathan, it's like he's all over it, okay? But Christy, she's all over it too. And so if I'm with Nathan, you know, he'll just spout out a pedigree like that and tell me who's that deer out of. But Christy, she knows the pedigrees just about as well as Nathan does. All right, it is early August, and what we're gonna do, I'm getting the cameraman, setting him up in one of our blinds. We've got blinds in every one of our pens so we can observe and medicate deer if we have to. But what we're doing, this is the time of year that most people wind up start looking at deer to buy, okay? And so they call me up, they want to come out to the farm, they call the deer farmers, want to come out to the farm, start looking at the bucks. So this time of year, what I like to do is I like to get a cameraman, put him in a blind, have him take some nice pictures, nice video, and that way we distribute them. We basically market the deer that way. And so what we're going to do, we're going to get him in the blind. I'm going to put some limbs out for the deer, and we're going to see what we have. It's just another day on the farm. So these are 3-year-olds?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're pretty. I mean, look at that guy right there. I mean, he's got some good beams on him. That guy flares out good. Okay, how many of these were born right here?
All of them.
They were all born on your farm. But
yes,
you brought all these guys in from the other place, right?
Yes, sir. We moved them over.
My goodness gracious. Okay, so in moving them over, how long did that take you to move them over?
It was a process. We started moving deer in early October. That was mostly all the does to get them ready for breeding season.
Right.
We ended up getting the last group of bucks moved actually just after the first weekend in December.
How many of them total?
At that time there was all total about 350 deer.
Oh my gosh. And so you take a look at these guys. There's one guy in here that, come on, what do you say? Come, heel, come on, heel. Sit. Are you kidding me? We're gonna revert back and show you the video from last year of a buck by the name of Heavy. That's gotta be Heavy right there.
That's Heavy.
I mean, the
where
Heavy
we go,
is,
he goes.
You know, the thing is, and what do you call him, a lifer?
He's a lifer.
Okay, tell everybody what a lifer is.
A lifer is a deer, for whatever reason, at some point has jerked on our heartstrings, and he'll just be here as long as we're farming deer.
Yeah, there you go. So when we say that every deer on the farm is for sale, we don't really mean that. You know, you wouldn't say your kid, unless your kid really messed up. I mean, there's some kids that I know to get sold, but you know, you sure wouldn't want to sell a deer that you love.
I'd probably come closer to selling a kid than I would
yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah, but you take a look at these 3-year-olds and you think, how did they hold up after the move? I mean, during the move, did you have any issues with them?
Very few. It was a relatively short move. You know, it wasn't like we were bringing them a long distance, but I think anytime you disrupt their normal habitat, that there's a little bit of stress related to it. So we did have a few issues, but they were very minimal. And I think all in all, it went pretty smooth.
And see, when you wind up buying what we call pasture deer are going to have to be moved to your place. And so you'd come out here and take a look at them, tell Nathan and Christy, okay, I like these, and make whatever deal, whether you want open does, bred does, one of these breeder packages. This what's cool, he's put together breeder packages. If you want to come out here and say, and tell him what your needs are and what your goals are, and he'll show you the pedigrees and help you design a plan. He has breeder packages like 10 does and a breeder buck, and he'll bring them all over at one time and drop them off. And so you can come out here and you can really pick what you want. But if you're interested in coming out to Rockin Whitetails, it's just outside of Mountain Home, Texas. It's only 3 miles off of Interstate 10. Give them a telephone number so they can call and schedule a time for them to come out and see the deer.
It's 409-767-5299.
And I'm telling you, the folks in Texas, there's a lot of breeders in Texas, but there's not a lot of breeders like Nathan and Christy Ross. Okay, Nathan and Christy Ross, yeah, they do a great job in Texas, but they're willing to travel outside the state of Texas in order to go to these different states and introduce them to these wonderful genetics. So if you're a deer breeder or want a deer breeder outside of Texas, you can get a hold of Nathan and he'll be happy to talk to you about genetics. These are some good guys right here.
Thank you.
Any good deer manager, whether they're a deer hunter or a deer farmer, knows it takes 3 good things to be able to make big deer: age, nutrition, and genetics. But on a deer farm, the most important thing is genetics, okay? So age, nutrition, and genetics, call it genetics, nutrition, and age. And the reason why, as a deer farmer, we want our deer to get big quick. So we've got to have the right genetics. So genetics are the #1 thing, but they got to have great nutrition. It's for that reason they rely on Record Rack deer feed.
We feed Record Rack. We feed daily, bucket feed. We have a 3,000-pound hopper that we pull through the pens. I like to feed daily rather than feeding up because I want to monitor what they're eating, how much they're eating. It gives us a little bit of a heads up as to whether or not we have an issue with the feed or with any type of herd health. This time of year, we're feeding morning and evening to make sure that they are getting fresh feed all summer long, and they'll have plenty to last them to the next feeding. Being more hands-on like that just gets us in the pens more. It gives us more contact with the deer, and I think that we're going to see some benefits from our increased herd health from being in the pens more often.
All right, everybody, if you just joined us, we're at Rockin Whitetails. It's in the Texas Hill Country, just outside of Mountain Home. This is Nathan Ross. He's half of Rockin. Christy Ross is the other half. Anyway, we have just shown y'all a whole bunch of really good young deer, and now we're fixing to show you the breeder buck. So, you got 4 of them in here?
Yes, sir.
So, start with the one on the left. Tell me who he is and give me a little information on him.
The one on the left is Gumbo. He's a 3-year-old buck. He is a Monarch Supreme son out of a doe that we've seen a lot of production out of, R.W. Tracy. Just a lot of production and consistency out of the bottom side, and we love what he brings to our program.
He's got a beautiful frame. I mean, he's got to be 30 plus
yes,
wide. I mean, it's a really, really pretty deer. And who's that one right there?
That's Game Over. He is Overnight Express on 0036, who is also the same dam as Gunslinger.
Yeah, yeah. And almost anybody that watched our show was heard of Gunslinger, because I mean, I bred with Gunslinger at my place. I love Gunslinger. So his dam is Gunslinger's
yes,
dam.
sir.
Okay, well, you can take a look. He is just a beautiful deer. I mean, he's just beautiful. I mean, nice, lots of good up points. I mean, just a good looking deer. That's the kind of deer, especially around here in this area, that people really like, isn't it?
Yes, sir. You do bring 10 people through the pens. By the time they're finished growing, usually 7 or 8 of them pick him as their favorite.
Okay. Now, who's that other one right there?
That's Double Shot. He is a Tebow son out of 100 Proof's Wound Sister.
Okay. Now, all these deer, of course, are in the North American Deer Registry. So if you're going to come over here, you're going to buy a breeder deer, or if you're going to buy what we call pasture release deer, you can look at the North American Deer Registry, and Nathan will sit down and look at it with you, and you can actually see the performance on these deer. I mean, what they've thrown, who they're out of, and that's what's cool about the registry. I mean, because it allows any of us that are breeders and members of NADEFA to be able to actually go on and be able to, and NADEFA is North American Deer Farmers, to be able to go on and see all this information. There's like 300,000 animals in there. So these animals are all in there. And what we've been doing, we've been saving the best for last, okay? We want to introduce you to High Expectations. Now, if you take a look at High Expectations, he is absolutely beautiful. And the cool thing about him, now you got to keep in mind that this farm right here, all the deer that are on this farm were moved in here because this was a recent real estate purchase. And
Yes.
they moved the entire herd up here. And so these animals, you talk about quality animal husbandry. I mean, it starts from the time they're babies with Christy. I mean, she's taking care of these babies like crazy. Okay, she watches them every day, all day, and it lasts all the way through their life. So High Expectations at 3 years old, I'm gonna get Nathan to tell you about his pedigree, and we'll show you the NADAR certificate. But in looking at him, that deer at 2 years old, when we filmed him at the other place, he was just as spectacular as he is today. So what's his pedigree?
He is a FedEx son out of a Gladiator 2 daughter that goes back to a super doe on our farm, Queen Impact.
Oh yeah.
And he's been very consistent. Last year he was a little over 30 inches wide. I don't have any question he's going to be that plus some this year, and we just absolutely love his tine length.
He's got everything going for him. Now, I want to tell you, although in Texas, most of the people that wind up dealing with Nathan and Christy, I would say, are buying pasture released deer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that wind up buying semen and some breeder deer from them here in Texas. But the cool thing about Nathan and Christy is they've gone outside the state of Texas. They've gone to Alabama, and I know last year when I was in Michigan, there were people talking about you and your deer and all. And so they're going all over the country. And what's cool about this, these, like High Expectations and any of these bucks right here, semen is available. So if you're a deer breeder or you want to be a deer breeder and you're not in Texas, you can get this semen anywhere and get these genetics started on your place. So give them a telephone number if somebody wants to call you.
You can reach us at 409-767-5299 or by email at rockinrwhitetails@gmail.com.
I'm telling you, if you come out here, I'm going to tell you what you're going to see. You're going to see Nathan, and you're going to see the most beautiful woman that loves deer that you have ever seen in your life. This woman, she's a little bitty gal, but you don't want to get in her way because she's going to take care of her deer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. She's taking care of her deer. And I mean, it starts from the day they're born, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
I'd like to thank you for having us out.
Thank you for coming.
It's always a pleasure. And folks, I encourage you, if you're in the Texas Hill Country, you need to get a hold of Rockin' Our Whitetails. And I want to thank you for watching our show. If you have any questions or comments, you can get a hold of us through our website. And I want you to make sure and watch our show over and over and over again. You can do so online. And the reason why is because you're going to learn a whole lot about deer and a whole lot about deer farming. My name is Keith Warren, and thanks for watching Deer and Wildlife Stories.
I'm rolling.
Both of them? All right, you want to do it this time?
Yes, I do.
You've always wanted to do that, haven't you?
Since I was just a wee
You
one.
got to hold it up where everybody can see it. Not without, you got to do it at the same time. Action.
Not before? Just
No, at the same time. Action. Perfect. Okay, let's put that down. All right. So these are 3-year-olds?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty funny. Okay. That was pretty funny. You know, we got this little toy this year, and every place we go, they're going, everybody, action, cut, you know. Anyway, so we got to get busy.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
I knew you'd like that. All right. So these are 3-year-olds?
Yes, sir.